I'm actually amazed this thing is still standing. As you can see, it is really falling apart. Today I'm leaving Kison, and this is episode 8 of the Isaan Thailand Motorbike Tour. This was a quiet little town. I spent 2 nights here and I really enjoyed myself. Not much to do here, but it just felt very peaceful and tranquil. And make sure you stay till the end of this video because I'm going to share my final thoughts on the Isaan Thailand Motorbike Tour, as well as give you my tips and tricks for motorbike tours. Google has once again taken me off the beaten path. It's kind of a shortcut. I'm trying to find a gas station. All right. Oh boy, there's dogs just everywhere and they will not get out of the road. I've seen so many dogs over the last couple of years through 8 motorbike tours, but for some reason out here in Kison, they won't get out of the way. I mean, they just sit in the middle of the road and you can pass them at 60 kilometers an hour and they just won't move. Pretty ballsy. All right, where the heck are we going? Get to see a little bit of the countryside here. I think I found it. This over here is the Mae Dam wooden bridge. It is 100 years old, and it's advised that heavy people not cross it. So let's go try. I'm definitely a heavy person. The Mae Dam Bridge is over 100 years old, and it was built to connect people from the other side of the riverbank to this side and vice versa. Some of the reviews I read online said that people do not recommend anyone elderly or heavy to cross this bridge because of the condition and age. Well, I'm kind of elderly, definitely heavy, so let's give it a try and see what happens. This bridge has definitely seen better days, but hey, for 100 years old, it's looking pretty damn good. And it's impressive that it's still here, it's still standing. Obviously, it's had some repairs done over the years, but it's crossable, well, at least so far. We still have the rest of the way to go. I'm just looking straight down as I'm walking to make sure that I'm stepping on the supports, because this thing is definitely rickety. And not only am I heavy, but I've got this backpack which weighs about 20 kilograms, so I really don't want to fall into the marsh here. I'm actually amazed this thing is still standing. As you can see, it is really falling apart, and this wood is quite dry, old, some of it's rotten. I'm about halfway through, and I just had to stop here to admire the beauty of standing in the middle of this lake, marsh, whatever it is, and the fact that this bridge is still supporting me. But it's just really beautiful and peaceful out here. As I was standing here listening, I heard a strange sound, and look what I see. A couple of water buffalo doing what they're known for, cooling off in the water. These guys can actually hold their breath for 5 minutes, and they go in the water quite a bit because that's how they cool off. Hence their name, water buffalo. Yeah, this bridge is something else. I mean, you're really kind of got to pick where you step wisely, especially if you're heavy like me. Look at this. Holy crap. Oh my God. It's partially collapsed over here. Mama, this thing is shaking. Do not want to go for a swim. But I'm determined to make it to the other side. And then, of course, we have to walk all the way back. Almost to the very end, but I want to walk over here and check out some of these water buffalo. I wonder if they're friendly or what the story is. They're starting to walk away as I get closer, so I don't want to spook them, especially the mama, because she will not be happy if I get anywhere near her 2 little calves. Yeah, she's not too happy. She's definitely giving me the evil eye. Not going to get any closer. Especially with those big boys over there with those big horns. Do not want to tangle with these guys. Okay, just a little more to go and we're going to be on the other side. I can't stop halfway through, but this part is like super rickety. I don't know if I'd call it nerve-wracking because, well, I mean, the bridge is holding, but it's just definitely very old and very fragile, like all of us will be someday. Almost to the other side. And there's another water buffalo hanging out over there. Whoa. Hello, sir. Don't mind me. Just passing through over here. He's a big, pretty boy, aren't you? Yeah? Okay, I won't bother you. And there we go. Made it to the other side in one piece. Goodbye, sir. Have a nice day. Fortunately, it's not too hot. It's only about 23, 24 degrees today. Whoa. And this would be definitely not fun on a 34, 35, 39 degree day. But this is kind of cool. Got to cross over back to the other side. Woo. Get back on the bike and continue on. Man, this side is super shaky. And honestly, guys, bridges like this have been about the extent of the excitement and interesting things to see on this trip. This whole Kison loop has been, not terribly exciting. And it's not probably as interesting as some of the other trips I've done. There's not as many things to see, but I've definitely enjoyed it because I wanted to come out here and explore this area. But I think my initial plans of making this a 4-week trip are just not going to happen. You know, at the 3-week mark, I think I've seen pretty much everything there is to see out here, at least from my standpoint on this first go around. I will come back on a larger bike and do more of this region and explore more, but I think for now I've seen quite a bit, and I think 3 weeks is going to be more than enough for this tour of the Isaan Thailand Motorbike Tour Series. This might have seemed like a weird thing to do to some of you, but I absolutely love this bridge, and I've made it back to the other side in one piece. So let me give you my final thoughts on the Isaan Thailand Motorbike Tour. Let's start off by addressing the big elephant in the room. This was probably my least favorite tour of all the tours that I have done, and this is the 8th tour that I've done here in Thailand. And the reason being is that, well, there just wasn't much in Kison to see. And that's partially my fault. Maybe I just didn't research it enough. Maybe I didn't look up enough things, but I just couldn't find enough interesting things to stretch this out into a month. So I think 3 weeks is more than enough for this tour. Also, I love twisty roads, and there are just none here in this region. Really couldn't find any. That was really quite disappointing. The people were super nice. I am so thankful for that guy with the truck that helped me when my bike broke down. That really came in handy. I mean, just the fact that I broke down right next to his house was like divine intervention. And speaking of the bike, I've had this Honda ADV 160 for about 14, 15 months now. And I've put on 14,000 kilometers, including 2,500 kilometers on this trip. I think at this point, I am reaching the limits of that bike. It's just not designed to go long distances at high speeds. And when I'm saying high speeds, that bike's really only capable of about 112 kilometers an hour, but really comfortable at about 100 kilometers an hour max, which is 62 miles an hour. So I think after this ride, that's going to be it. And what I mean by that is this will be the last tour on the Honda ADV 160. I'm going to go out and look for a big bike, a bigger motorcycle, 500, 750, maybe 850 cc's. That bike has served me well and I absolutely loved it, but I knew when I bought it that it really wasn't meant for these kind of tours, and I'm finally realizing that I'm exceeding its capabilities on a constant basis, so I need to replace it with something that's a little better suited for my future needs, as I plan to do a lot more of these tours throughout the Thailand and probably cover some of the areas again, but on a bigger, more capable motorcycle. And most of the little towns were absolutely lovely, but there just wasn't a whole ton to see and do. I mean, there's obviously temples everywhere, and it seemed like every little town had their own tower. Great food, great people, and it was nice and peaceful, but just kind of sedate. And that's why this has been my least favorite of my Thailand motorbike tours. This time I tried something a bit different booking some of these hotels. Instead of looking on Agoda, I actually went to some hotels that said, go to the hotel and talk to them in person. When you look on Google Maps, there are places that don't have any prices that you can't book online. They're local Thai hotels, and you have to show up and just make the booking in person. And I found some of the best hotels I stayed at doing that, because sometimes some of those hotels just weren't on Agoda or not booking.com, and you had to go in person to make those reservations. And again, the hotels on this trip ranged anywhere from, I think, around 600 baht all the way up to, I believe, about 1,800 was the most I paid. The average was right around 1,000, which is very reasonable for this area. And I do like a certain level of room, certain level of comfort. So I am a little bit picky where I'm staying because after being all day on the bike, I want to make sure I get a good night's sleep. I had lots of great meals on this trip, got to try lots of Isaan food that I really enjoyed. The weather was perfect. It was probably 21 to 27 degrees most of the days, nice and cool, a little brisk in the mornings and in the evenings, and hence that's why I brought a sweatshirt. But overall, it was very comfortable, great weather for the kind of riding that I like to do. Not many places will take credit cards, so make sure you carry cash, or if you have a Thai bank account, you can use the scan feature on your phone and pay that way. Almost everybody in Thailand will accept it. Even the tiniest little street food vendor with a stall selling rice, whatever, for 10, 20 baht, they will be able to take Thai transfers, so that's very easy to do. Even though this wasn't my favorite Thailand motorbike tour, I still enjoyed it very much. I got to see lots of things, go places I didn't know existed, and just explore. And that's what it's all about. Sure, there were failures, things happened, the bike broke, but that's part of the adventure, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to doing another tour in a couple months, hopefully on my new motorcycle. I hope you've enjoyed this tour, and if you have, check out some of these other videos that I have. Guys, please make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all very soon in another episode.